The next one, we had Tony Nese defeated Buddy Murphy to win the Cruiserweight title. Good match.
Yes.
Carmella won that year's Women's Battle Royal. And then we had a streak that was ended. Kurt Hawkins is now victorious after a long losing streak with him and Zack Ryder, where they defeated the Revival. And this was probably my most anticipated match of the night. I love the Revival, and I love Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder. I listen to their podcast every week.
Don't say.
Yes. It was an amazing, especially for them to be with their hometown crowd. Hawkins was wearing different color gear that night in support of where they were at. And even though it wasn't a full stadium yet, it's like the people who were there reacted great to the finish. Granted, they didn't really do much with the tag titles afterwards. It became kind of a super low card moment when they won it, but at least they had that WrestleMania moment. So Ryder's had 2 big moments. Kurt Hawkins gets 1 big moment, and it's awesome. I loved it. The main show, or I guess there was also on the pre-show. I was thinking it was the main show, the Battle Royal. The Andre Battle Royal, Braun Strowman won it. It was what it was. We got some SNL cast members in it. We got Michael Che and Colin Jost.
We did zero marketing on SNL itself, by the way. We're still...
Yeah.
Yeah, that was something that irked me a lot. It's like, why?
I'm trying to think. I wanted to say there was somebody else who I was thinking was going to win this one. I cannot place it though.
Luke Harper.
Main show, Seth Rollins defeated Brock Lesnar. Lesnar came out. Heyman, they wanted to open up the show. They weren't going to close the show.
And before that,
Rollins wins it in less than 3 minutes.
Comes out, your someone very dear and dear to your heart.
You got we had Alexa Bliss and Hulk Hogan starting the show. Alexa Bliss was the host of WrestleMania that year, and she snapped her fingers and had Hulk Hogan come out.
Yeah.
Had AJ Styles defeating Randy Orton, which that match there was one that people who had been watching. People were watching Ruthless Aggression era Raw and TNA. It's basically a dream match to have AJ and Orton together, especially being at WrestleMania.
It's the two different representations of it. It's Randy Orton, whose journey is basically within the WWE. So it's like it's a WWE made wrestler versus a WWE wrestler who was not made in the WWE. It's the ultimate. It's the ultimate showdown between two of those guys. I think even more than. I think it represents that even more than AJ versus Cena. It's AJ versus Orton because Orton is embroidered with the WWE look and everything, and
completely.
AJ is the wrestling journeyman who made his name outside of it. It was a perfect matchup.
It was a good match too.
Yeah.
We had a fatal 4-way for the tag titles. Usos defeated Aleister Black and Ricochet, who had also wrestled at TakeOver that weekend. Rusev and Nakamura and The Bar. Shane McMahon versus The Miz, Falls Count Anywhere. We got ourselves some great memes with The Miz's dad during this match. Shane is a great heel, and honestly, this was The Miz's best face run. It was way better than his 2012-2013 run. The Iconics won the tag team titles, defeating Boston Hug Connection, Nia Jackson, Tamina, and Beth Phoenix and Natalya. It was an awesome moment also. It was great seeing Billy and Peyton walk away with the tag titles. So yet again, kind of like the same with the Major Brothers. Reign didn't really do a whole lot. They could have done a hell of a lot more with Iconics as the tag champs, because they're both solid in the ring. They're both great on the mic. They're great characters. And they're an actual tandem. So it would have made sense to, push them hard as the tag champs, but it's WWE.
It's a wasted opportunity. Like they gave them their moment and told them, be on your way.
Yeah. Exactly.
Speaking of taking your moment and being on your way.
Pretty much since Kofi first started doing Royal Rumbles and Money in the Bank, I pretty much was pulling for Kofi every single Rumble and every single Money in the Bank to win and go on to win the WWE Championship. WrestleMania in 2013, I was actually 2012. I was hoping he was actually going to be in the main event. I was hoping it was going to be him and Ziggler for the championship. I was thinking that it would have been cool if Punk had dropped it to Ziggler and Kofi won the Rumble, but of course that didn't happen. You have Ali, who gets injured. Kofi Kingston replaces him for Elimination Chamber and the Gauntlet, and it just starts building to a huge moment where fans, everybody needed to see Kofi Kingston in this match.
I think the original plan was Kevin Owens versus Daniel Bryan, but Kofi being inserted and building that fan base behind him changed everything. It was one of the greatest things ever, that you want this guy to be the guy, and he is the guy, and he becomes the guy because people just want him to be. And that match was so good. That match was the match of the night.
When it's ending, so used to kickouts nowadays that you're like, oh shit, okay, this isn't gonna be it. Even though the match had gone, it's 23:45, so it has a great runtime. But you still think in the back of your mind, there's gonna be a kick out, there's gonna be something that's gonna happen. So even though everyone was wanting it, you had the 1, 2, or still that split second where anything could have happened. And as soon as they hit 3, everyone just explodes. Tony and I were sitting together for this one, and holy shit, it's from one of the tightest hugs that I've ever given, one of the tightest hugs I've ever received right there. It was a fucking moment. As I said, I had been wanting him be in the WWE title picture since he first started, pretty much since the Randy Orton feud in 2009. So this was 10 years I had been wanting him be the WWE champion, and for him to get it, WrestleMania, in not necessarily the stadium wasn't in New York, but New York weekend for WrestleMania weekend.
The shadow of New York.
Yes. It's a huge moment for him. Daniel Bryan, of course, was phenomenal as a heel. It could have been the main event, but I'm glad it wasn't. And the same thing with the main event, where everyone wanted to see Becky Lynch win it. It was also a great match, but it needed to be one of those two to close. But the bad thing with this show was
it was longer.
Being in that stadium for that many hours with kind of cold breezes coming through, it definitely made you want to fall asleep and go just be anywhere else other than there. I'm glad this match was, and this ain't disrespect to like Becky or anybody. They deserve to be in the main event, but I'm glad that this match wasn't anywhere else higher up on the card, because
after that match, everything
much after this
was a blur.
Yes, everything else was a blur after that. Like, stuff wasn't necessarily bad, but it's when people started feeling fatigued, they started getting tired, they started feeling cold.
Again, yeah. I think if they had put even a couple of matches before that, it might have still gotten people up, because I think people started getting down because seeing Kofi win was such a high. Mm-hmm. There's nowhere to go but down. It was great. And let's say this about this match. Daniel Bryan was so great at being a heel, at being a bad guy, making you hate him, that people actually forgot that he was a fantastic wrestler. And it shows in this match. Yeah. He did a lot of, great wrestling that if you look into it in the vacuum, like, not knowing that this is the bad guy, you'd say, whoa, this guy is good. This guy is a... But it was like a great match. I remember, like, I met Ricky Steamboat the next day on the Intrepid, part of the package thing, and he said he was going to ask everyone what their favorite matches is. It was him and Ivory. And when he asked me, I said Kofi Kingston and Daniel Bryan, and he was shocked, but Ivory liked it. And I told him it had that more emotional hook. I said maybe belt to ball, Orton versus AJ Styles was better, but Kingston versus Bryan was... You were just, you wanted it. It had like, I think this and the main event, they both had that hook where you wanted to see that guy win, and you wanted to see it so badly. It was good. By the way, Joe, is that the same shirt you wore that night?
Actually, it is. Yes, it is. Yes. Actually, yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Wasn't done on purpose, but yes, it is.
Interesting.
I wore it on purpose that night, but yeah.
But that's like it was meant to be.
Yes, yeah. For those listening, I am wearing a 8-Bit New Day t-shirt.
It's a great match. It's honestly like there is very few moments where you see like there is genuine rejoicing out of everyone watching, out of everyone in that stadium. Like
next up, Samoa Joe defeated Rey Mysterio to win the United States Championship. Lasted 1 minute. I guess it was to retain. Because he had won it from R-Truth about a month earlier.
He won it in exactly 1 minute. I don't know if they set out to just hit that 1 minute mark exactly right, but kudos to them.
Roman Reigns defeated Drew McIntyre. Was what it was. It was a big heel for Roman to go through. Survivor Series match last year was far superior.
Would you guys have rather
Triple H
McIntyre had won this and become a heel? And
I did too.
A heel did, right? It would have been better.
I think. I think it would have made more sense for Drew to have won that one, because it was on a hot streak as a vicious heel that would just pummel his opponent, because it was pretty much as soon as he was done with Ziggler when they had their cage match, it's like they were building him up to just be unstoppable. I think Drew should have won this match, but makes sense. Or
they wanted Roman was coming back from the his leukemia diagnosis. So but I think there was a storyline. There was a storyline opportunity where you could have gone with, maybe he doesn't have it anymore.
Exactly.
You had Drew McIntyre win, and you had Roman go up into. Which when you see that he actually the next match he had was with Shane McMahon and he lost. I would have rather lose this one and win the next one. But
same. I they had to use the restroom during Triple H versus Batista, because I was like, all right, I actually liked the build towards this, love both guys, but I was like, all right, I'm super ass tired here, so I just went and used it, came back, and
they were still going.
The pacing, it's 24:45. The pacing was so slow during this match. Like when they tried doing like any sort of like physicality, like this, like the stair spot, like the pliers. Nobody was really into anything in this match at all. Everything just felt slow, not methodical. Just slow.
They were They were trying for the methodical vibe, but it just didn't click.
Didn't know.
It was like, let's move on.
When they were trying to
the next extreme spot, and let's move on to the next extreme spot.
Yeah.
They were just,
like, you know, with the announce tables, how many times did they try and put? I can't remember, it's Triple H or Batista, to put them through that table, and they just wouldn't break, would they? Yeah. And it got to the point where it was getting awkward.
Just move on.
Like, I think it was about 3 or 4 times, was it?
Like, just move on.
There's quite a few, and I was like, oh God, just stop. Just stop, please.
Clearly the table is
it was more about the... No. Yeah. But it was just like, for the brutality of it, there was no, you know, it wasn't a technical match at any means necessary. It was just, I'll hit you with a sledgehammer, I'll put you through this table, I'll hit you with this. You know what I mean? There was no real wrestling.
The kind
there
of
was no wrestling
they presented needed a high octane, faster pace. But they slowed it down. They tried to do their WrestleMania 21 match, but with gimmicks, and it didn't. It didn't work.
Yeah, it didn't work.
Those just
at all.
And if you guys remember, Triple H came out, I don't know if you saw this later, they had that, you know, pre-entrance video with some of the worst animation I have seen in my life.
Yeah.
I'd
forgot about that, but it was awful.
Yeah, I'm sorry to bring it back up again, but
that's all right. If this match could get erased from WWE history, I wouldn't miss it one bit. Maybe Peacock might do it. I don't know.
Nah.
They seem to be doing that with a lot of WWE history.
Might remove the nose ring bit.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, a babyface doing that, not feeling it.
Yeah. I cringed when I saw it, but looking back on it, I cringed on the whole match.
Yeah.
So.
Baron Corbin defeated Kurt Angle in his last match.
They didn't match up well. I'm just gonna say that.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Chalk and cheese.
I'd love to have seen Angle's last match be against, you know, one necessarily his caliber. Corbin was such a great heel for him to face off with.
Yeah.
I had no problem with it. It was a short and sweet match, especially right there where it just gone through that enduring Triple H Batista match. People just wanted something fast and quick to get this through, and the next few matches were.
Here's the problem.
I have no problem with Corbin being that guy.
Yeah, the problem is, this is when every match is well built, some of them have to be turned into filler matches, but they're well built filler matches, which is kind of like, you know, people who wanted to see Kurt Angle for a long time, they got the spot, but it's the placement of the card. There's no match we can put there that's going to be, you know, that can be long.
Yes.
By no means Triple H and Batista should have had the longest match on the card. It's absurd for what they presented, honestly. It's
wow. Yeah.
But
just the overall pacing with it. It's that, like, I mean, after Kofi, you know, you have Joe and Ray, which is super short. Then you have a. What's that?
Sorry, my phone just went off.
That's like
I was like, I'm not seeing anyone's lips moving.
Felt like someone was
then you had
a very confidential message, like something. Does this have to?
No, I just lent on my phone. I lent on my phone and opened TikTok by mistake. I'll move it now.
No, it's okay.
So yeah,
because everyone knows we don't like our show goes smoothly every time until now.
Yeah, something's got to go wrong.
Like after Kofi and Bryan, you have Joe and Ray, which is short. You have 2 big programs with your top stars. You have Roman and Drew and Triple H and Batista. Like, what happens next? It's like the next 2 matches are less than 10 minutes. Kurt Angle obviously was going to get a huge reaction. Finn Balor obviously was going to get a huge reaction. But just the endurance of WrestleMania, especially this one here, where it's like once you get to these matches, people are so drained out of it.
You are. It's
like luckily, like Becky Lynch was like so hot that she actually
got us all up again.
Kind of like Bryan at 30, like Bryan at 30, where she got people back into the show a little bit, but still, it's like even during the main event, people are still just so drained. This is almost like a 2-night Mania.
Main event, I think this WrestleMania went on longer than 5 hours. It was like the longest WrestleMania ever. So you're like, we're at 32. Well, the first time we reached the 5 hours, okay, so we're getting kind of used to it. But then you go past the 5 hours, and it's in New York, so it's midnight. It's past midnight now while you're watching this. Not that wrestling past midnight does not sound cool. It sounds awesome, but like I've been here since daylight has been going, and now it's midnight. And you're like, this is the 16th match I'm watching just for this show, not counting the countless matches you've watched earlier, the matches you saw at Axis, the matches you saw everywhere else. It's like I'm fatigued, but the presentation was pretty good.
I mean, it was a great moment.
Yeah, Charlotte helicoptering in, and just looking at the camera and walking. It felt like very, like, okay, there is something still is yet to come, and having the band play Bad Reputation live, I think the presentation kind of brought you back into the match a little bit, with coming in.
Did. Because you kind of needed that, because you need to get that jolt to keep you awake. Especially after leaving the show, and you're going to be back to your hotel room in an hour. Knock on wood, that didn't happen. You're like, oh, cool. This match, it's keeping me up. Be like 30 minutes or so. Wound up going 21:30. It's going to be a great way to end the show.
And the skies are clear, the weather is good, nothing's going to happen.
I mean, it was a match. I haven't actually gone back to. I did rewatch this one. I rewatched this one and the Kofi match, but it's still one of those things where it's like, I just think if they had done like a 2-night, which I don't want Mania to go to 2 nights, but if they did like a 2-night thing, this is kind of the reason why 2 nights can work. One reason I don't want Mania to do 2 nights is because there's just so much stuff going on Mania week that's just going to drain you. And of course, going through the hassle of getting tickets for both nights is even bigger deal.
Twice the price.
Yes.
Twice the stress too.
Yeah, exactly. Especially in that city. Just imagine doing that 2 nights in a row. The transportation for that, it would just be insane. Any guys have final thoughts on 35?
I hate New York subway.
Well, I love I'm going to counter that. I'm going to say I love the New York subway. This trip actually is what made me love what got me over my, Middle Eastern fear of the subway that was inspired by Hollywood movies and so forth.
I love the subway. I just hate the far travel.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us on the Outlaw Macho Driving. If you like that video, please click like and subscribe to our channel for more content from the drive-in. For full episodes of our podcast, you may look us up on Anchor, Spotify, or wherever your favorite podcasts are available. Just search for Outlaw Mud Show Drive-In. And if it's not too much trouble, would you help us out here? Spread the word, share. We would really appreciate it. Thank you. We love you. Bye.